Robert Wraith. Hi.
Hi, this is Doris,
Oh,
Florida.
DeLand, Florida. All right, you're going to have to really yell at us.
Okay. Is that better?
Oh, much, yes.
Okay. I was wondering about the death of the dog. Apparently it was from some kind of contact with the alien.
Yes, it was.
Right. And that was through clothing?
Well, the dog had grabbed his forearm and was literally tearing into the flesh of its forearm.
Mm-hmm.
And what I saw was almost as if he grabbed the nose of the dog, ripping it back, and then it started to almost implode.
Mm-hmm. Well, was this some kind of toxin through the hand or something?
I do not have a clue.
I was wondering if the touch was that toxic, what effect it would have on you if you touched it.
Well, apparently it didn't do anything to me after it fell to the ground.
Right. Maybe because it was dead, it wasn't toxic anymore or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It also might have been a natural defense mechanism of the suit, or some kind of weapon. It didn't necessarily have to be a toxin. It could have been many other things. You're dealing with a whole new type of technology that is far beyond anything we know or understand at this time.
Right. So when you cut through the suit, then, wouldn't it have that same effect?
It didn't.
Yeah.
The only thing it did was reseal itself.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
All right, thank you very much for the call, and take care. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Art?
Yes. Turn your radio off, please, right away.
What I'm doing. Yes, I have an incident that happened to me in the likeness, like...
Where are you, sir?
At Marshfield, Wisconsin.
All right. And it was like this?
Well, okay, in 1967. Okay, I was deer hunting. Well, not deer hunting. I was just going through the woods with my .303 British jungle carbine. And I was by an old railroad spur, and I was just stalking. It was prior to rifle season, you know, in the fall of the year, just that I wanted to walk through the woods and do the experiment like that in pre-season. And I got into where an old railroad spur was, and the ditch was, suddenly the terrain, the foliage, went and grew over it. It was in a great, big, really thick tag elder swamp area near a river.
Okay, we've got to hurry here.
Yeah, and anyway, I saw several different aliens. There was like a female and two little offspring. There's about 75 yards away, and they were a deeper green rather than the tag elder foliage.
In the woods?
Yes. At the intersection by N and A in Wood County, Wisconsin. And anyway, and I was studying through. I wasn't for sure what I was seeing, or the wind was blowing back and forth, but I could see that, like, as the female. And okay, this would be the greens, like as or the grays with pointed ears and everything.
All right. Have you seen the pictures we've got on the website?
No.
So then you can't compare. So you can't compare. All right, sir. Listen, this sounds like something we need to get from you in open lines at another time. So we'll do that. And while we're on the subject of the alien creature, guess it's an alien. Don't know what. I've never seen anything like that on Earth, Doctor. Have you?
Not American-made.
Well, it's funny you should bring that up. There are those who say that this alien looks, their words, suspiciously like the alien in the movie Fire in the Sky, the story of Travis Walton. I've interviewed Travis Walton. And in fact, Travis did describe a creature that looks very much like the creature in the picture. Now, there's two ways to look at that. The cynics would say, you got the props from the movie somehow, and you used them. The believers would say, well, that's what Travis described, and now we've got a photograph. I suppose I ought to go to Travis and say, hey, Travis, is this what you saw?
I'd like to know if it is what he saw. But I have heard and read this on the web since we were on earlier. And what I have to say to those people is it may look like a prop when you look in the picture.
Yep.
But it sure doesn't when you're about 8 inches from it.
Believe me, that I can fully understand.
What was the obelisk part of something that Travis Walton saw?
Travis Walton saw a large craft. I take it you've never seen the movie.
No, I have not.
Travis Walton saw a very large craft indeed, and he was foolish enough to run under it, and that was the last Travis Walton was seen for quite some time. And when he did return, I mean, there were like 5 guys involved in this incident, and they all took and passed lie detector tests twice. And so that creature described by Travis was looked very much like the one that we've got pictures of up on the web. So anyway, west of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Wraith and Dr. Reed. I'm Art Bell. Hi.
Hey, I'd just like to say I just finally got on to listening to you.
I can barely hear you, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. One of my friends just turned me on to listening to you guys, and I think you are absolutely fabulous.
Well, we're different.
You're different, yes, definitely different.
What can we do for you?
Yeah, I was just calling in regards to, you said people might not believe you that he had him in the freezer for 3 weeks, but if he did somehow regenerate himself, by keeping him in the freezer, he would have slowed down his metabolism.
Was it 3 weeks?
No, it was a total of 10 days.
Oh, I thought you said 3 weeks.
No, it was 3 days from the day we brought him home until I saw it move.
Yeah, and that still would have slowed down his metabolism on him being able to regenerate himself.
Well, you know, we're thinking in human terms. And again, what do we know about a creature's physiology from a completely different place or time or dimension?
Yeah, and even if you are speaking in human terms, the human body does have the ability to regenerate itself, such as if you were to cut your finger, you can regenerate it, the cells.
That's true.
And by being exposed to extreme cold,
yes,
your body will slow down its regeneration process.
That's absolutely true. Thank you. But again, that relates to us. We're thinking in human terms. It's a natural thing for us to do. Remember, we don't know physically anything about this creature at all, except how different it appears. First off,
I was just going to add, Art, that what we do know...
Hello? Yes, hold on, caller. Thank you.
What we do know is that it was human-like. It obviously was breathing our atmosphere. It had 2 eyes. It had a mouth.
Yep.
It had a skull very similar to a human skull, little different dimensions. And it was bleeding.
There's no question about that.
There was cranial fluid leaking from the wound, not only blood, but also cranial fluid, which is a little different circumstance. But
yeah, I should also tell the audience that in the videotape, which I have seen, which is not yet released, the doctor does an examination on the creature, and it's pliable. In other words, he was able to force the mouth open, force the eyelids, it seemed like, open, touch, and you could see the texture and the touch of the skin, so it wasn't any plastic dummy, that's for damn sure, whatever it was. Caller?
Yes, sir.
Where are you?
My name's Greg. I'm from El Cajon, California.
Yes, sir.
Doctor, how are you tonight?
Hanging in there.
Good, sir. I've loved listening to this story. It's intriguing. You said initially the incident, you were in the area for 3 hours?
Approximately 3 hours.
Approximately 3 hours. I knew you were ill, and I know it was a grave situation. How did you muster the strength or the courage, or I don't know what you were thinking, to stay in that area for almost 3 hours? How did you manage to do that?
It was totally unconscious.
Totally unconscious.
Believe me, if I could have gotten up and walked out of there and run home, I would have. But I felt sick at one point, exhausted at another.
Yes, sir.
Picked myself up, started to walk away, and one thing would lead to another, and I'd actually have to sit down to regain some strength. So it was a matter of not wanting to be there, but needing, I think, to be there just to regain my own strength and will to leave.
It was almost like you had lead shoes on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, well, it's an intriguing story, and you seem very credible to me.
Thank you.
All right, sir. I appreciate your call. Thank you. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Wraith and Dr. Reed. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you?
I am in Illinois.
Illinois. All right.
My name is Ed.
Ed, okay, we don't have a whole lot of time. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll tell you. In 1985, I witnessed two aliens outside my bedroom window, and my friends didn't believe it. So, just to make a long story short, I rigged up a videotape, and I took some pictures, and I made it look like something actually took place, and they were totally impressed.
So what are you saying? You faked pictures?
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. Well, nobody's saying things cannot be faked.
It was fun, but what actually happened did happen to me. But I just...
so you're saying you faked pictures to verify a story that you had not documented?
It is actually documented, but I just did it as a prank, just to have fun.
You did it to substantiate what had happened.
Yes. And they loved it. And then, of course, I told them later that it was butch wax and paper mache, and it was just fun.
Well, glad you had fun. Is that what you think is being done here?
I do not believe that at all.
So you have you seen the photographs, by the way?
No, I have not.
Uh-huh.
I just had fun with it, and it's an incredible story. I listen all the time, and it almost makes me, I'm shaking right now, just reliving my experience.
That I understand. Thank you very much. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Hi there. Where are you?
Welcome back. Thank you very much for returning to the air.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Of course, for the doctor, it actually falls in line with the last caller. I heard him last week. I believe it was last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I found him very credible. And tonight, I have a strange sense that, the man, to me, seems to be telling the truth. Or at least what he believes to be the truth. I was wondering if you can give him just a minute to talk to the audience. Sort of a one-on-one thing, and just, sort of bare his soul, so to speak. Tell us exactly, wow, now I'm at a loss for words. A little nervous, I apologize.
That's all right.
But I know I really, in my own heart, know the man's telling the truth.
Thank you.
And,
that was also my impression.
Yeah, I really do believe it. And I think that, especially like what the last caller saying is like, some people are not sure, but the man has definite honesty in his voice. And if he can just speak to the audience, directly and somehow try to convince some of the people who don't believe him, because this is nuts. This actually happens to real people, even doctors.
I have something to say about that.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Art.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, doctor.
Thank you, sir. I'm just a normal guy. I was in the right place, what I consider to be the wrong time. I didn't want this to happen. I don't want to be in the spotlight. I don't want to be doing this. But somebody, if they have this kind of experience, has a responsibility to bring this out. Because there's a lot of people out there that have seen things that are afraid.
I know.
Afraid to come forward.
I know.
And they've got possibly evidence too. And they've been told not to bring it out and not to show it. And possibly threatened, or who knows, even worse. I know what I've been through.
Have you been threatened, doctor, other than followed and nearly run off the road? Have you been directly threatened?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yes, I have.
All right. We're at the top of the hour, so everybody hold on. We'll come back. I definitely want to hear about that. Dr. Reed has been threatened. Well, as he said, we've only heard about a fifth of what actually occurred. You're listening to the account of Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith, who documented it, and is writing a book about it. I'm Art Bell, and this is Coast to Coast AM. Good morning. Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith are here, and they're taking your questions. And we're going to get back to open lines in a moment. And when I do open lines, I do unscreened open lines. Here's a quick fax from Richard C. Hoagland. Art, the, in quotes, obelisk is six-sided, tetrahedral. A point in favor of all this. Why does he call it an obelisk? More Egyptian stuff. We'll ask about that in a moment. All right, away we go again. I always pause now. I'm learning. I'm getting like the machine. I learn. I pause. I wait, and I see if it's going to do anything else. Once again, Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith. Gentlemen, how are you doing? Both awake?
We're both awake and doing well.
All right. Excellent. I'm going to warn you. Well, let me first ask you about Richard's facts. He says this obelisk, looking at it carefully, and we do have awfully good photographs up there now, is six-sided.
Correct.
What made you decide to call it an obelisk, out of curiosity?
What else would you call it?
It's a good point. I don't know.
To be honest, I don't know what to call it, but we had to put a name on it. And at first I took to calling it a big black wedge, and that just didn't seem appropriate. But what I started to say earlier is I don't believe that it's a ship. I believe that it's possibly a gate, a biomorphic type gate. And the book is called Link for a reason. And I haven't had a chance to say that.
All right. What is the link?
Well, I believe the link is the obelisk. I think there is a link between the alien, the extraterrestrial, and this black, ominous, floating obelisk.
Oh, I would say there's a great chance of that.
But I think the link is a physical link. I think that it's a possibility that the alien was in contact with this thing, and it was almost like a leash to keep track of him.
Do you have any reason to believe that beyond conjecture?
Yes, I do, but I can't say that at this time.
All right. You said earlier, just before the hour, I asked, had you been threatened other than being run off the road and or followed? And you said yes. Can you talk about that?
Threats come in many forms. After this event had started to happen several days after I had come home, I finally decided to go into work, where I found my entire office basically stripped and ransacked also. Another day, I went to my car and found a note in my car that said, "Say no more."
Do you think your life is in danger now?
At this point, since I have come out with this information and I have seeded this information all over the country, I don't feel personally threatened as much as I used to.
Well, that I understand, and you are doing the right thing. I received some materials that still, to this day, remain completely anomalous. Linda Moulton Howe had them tested at the best national labs. They can't be duplicated. Nobody knows what they are. They seem to have antigravitic properties to them. And when I got them, I kept my mouth shut, and I dispersed them geographically around the country to people that I trust. And I did that because I know these things really do go on. All right, let's move on. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
Hello.
Turn your radio off, please.
Yes. Hi, Art. I just wanted to welcome you back and say it's great to have you back on the air.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Reed. I'm not sure if you said this tonight or I remember you saying it the last time you were on the air that, excuse me, that the obelisk, that when you were there where the obelisk was there, and somebody had said, or you said that you went back there the next day. Is that correct?
Yes. We went back the next morning to try to bring it back, believe it or not.
Right. Now, the obelisk was there the next day?
No, it was not there. In fact, there was no sign that I was ever there.
You were going to try and bring the obelisk back?
Gary, as wonderful a guy as he is, sometimes will go off the deep end, and we took a trailer with chain and cable, and he was going to try to drag this thing back.
Wow.
Now, he had no idea other than what I told him. You know, he didn't know if this thing was, able to be moved or not, and quite honestly, I didn't either, because all I had was the ability to push it, and I could not budge it. It was like it was anchored to the air.
And how big was it?
It was approximately 9 feet long, about 2.5 to 2 3/4 feet high, and about 3.5 to 4 feet wide.
Have you seen the photograph, sir?
Yes, I have. Yes, as a matter of fact, I have seen the photographs. I haven't seen the enhancements, but I've seen the photographs, and they're absolutely spectacular.
Well, the enhancements, they're not really enhancements. I simply scanned at a much higher rate to get more detail so people could look more closely. And so you're right. I mean, they're absolutely astounding photographs. I don't know what else to say.
Right.
We have added one photograph on the website, and this one gives you a little perspective because it's from a different angle, it's farther away, and you can actually see a little bit of foliage in front of the obelisk.
Right. Well, I belong to the Art Bell Chat Club in Chicago. I'm from Wisconsin, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And members of the Chat Club, they're all just in awe. I fully believe in the doctor. He sounds very credible to me.
Thank you.
It's just too bad that a lot of the rest of the evidence got taken away from the doctor. So
it is too bad. I appreciate your call. Here's a fax. Art, love your show. Please ask your guests if this creature. You did do an examination in the videotape, which they have not yet seen. When you opened the mouth, were there teeth?
There were teeth, but they were not like our teeth. They almost looked like the teeth of a fish, and the mouth was shaped very similar to a fish's mouth.
I thought that, too, when I saw it. Kind of like a fish.
There was a tongue inside. It was a grayish, bluish purple, very small. I did not see any vocal cords, but I didn't reach down its throat either.
I wouldn't have done that either. Doctor, I've got so many faxes here. I'm going to try to intersperse the good ones. Somebody asks, when you attacked the alien with that big stick, did the alien just stand there rather? Did it in any way try to fight back? Did it try to ward off the blow? Did it know what was coming? What was that encounter like?
I don't think it knew it was coming, and I don't think I planned it. It just happened. What actually took place, as I can remember, is he looked at me, turned its head, stopped moving for a second, turned back to look at the remains of the dog on the ground, and then I lunged forward and hit it.
Wow. All right. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Robert Wraith and Dr. Jonathan Reed. Hi there. Well, that was intelligent. Now, you see, what you just heard, the raspberries you just heard, that's a typical reaction of somebody who is confronted with evidence they can't explain. It upsets them, it scares them, it makes them mad, and they resort to ridicule.
Art, I'll tell you the truth. I did that for about 3 weeks.
I understand. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Wraith and Dr. Jonathan Reed. Hi.
Hi. I have several questions.
All right. Number one, you're going to have to speak up good and loud. Get close to that phone. Where are you?
Okay. North Carolina.
All right.
Yes, I have several questions. The first one, when you hurt your hand when you touched the obelisk,
yes,
has it healed
Yes, it has. It heals quite rapidly, just very similar to any type of burn or wound. There is a little bit of a scar, but it's hardly noticeable.
Okay, another question. When you were so sick, do you think a lot of it could have been the vibratory rate of this coming from this creature in this ship?
Well, we really never found out what it was other than emotional stress for sure, but I believe it was contact with the obelisk.
You think that made you sick?
I think it made me sicker.
You were clearly hyperventilating. There was no question about that. Hyperventilating so much, I'm surprised you didn't pass out.
Well, I think at times I almost did, where I couldn't stand any longer.
There were certain expletives deleted. Now, I actually didn't go over that point, but had I kept the tape rolling for another 30 seconds, there would have been some expletives there. Again, something you would fully expect in that kind of an encounter. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hello.
Hi. I had a dream a long time ago about the vibration of a chupacabra or something. I was wondering if the vibration, when it was vibrating before, while it was killing the dog, if that might have made him even more ill.
That's just like the question we just had.
It's possible, but I really have no way to tell, other than I was so emotionally upset that I was just literally unable to function.
I'm surprised you can remember as many details as you can. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Robert Wraith and Dr. Reed. Hi.
Hi.
Where are you?
I'm calling from KEOI on Maui, Hawaii.
Maui, Hawaii. Oh, excellent. Welcome. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I missed part of the show, so I'm not really sure if maybe the question's been answered or not. When the dog was, whatever happened to the dog when it came in contact with the creature contacted him, what did you do with the dog?
What did I do with the dog?
Yeah, any kind of autopsy or...
The dog?
Oh, no, I guess... Oh, okay, we'll have to... I guess, Robert, you're very good at describing this. Why don't you tell this caller exactly what occurred?
A fleshy pseudopod came from the alien and wrapped itself around the dog's head. When it retracted, part of the flesh was pulled back. The dog was bleeding. A hole appeared in the dog, and the flesh and bone and material of the animal moved like a water into a drain towards that spot, and the dog was absorbed into itself. There was nothing left to do an autopsy on.
It was there was virtually sort of a, I think, didn't you say some kind of powdery substance or something?
Yes, there was some kind of powder or ash that was left, a light field of it.
That's very sad, actually.
And the next day, Art, when we went back, there was nothing there. There was not a stick, a twig, an impression, nothing. I mean, I almost felt like the plants were replanted.
It's like it never happened.
Right. I wish it hadn't.
When I first talked to Jonathan and he started to relate the event to me, one of the hardest points, and it took a long time to get through, and extremely emotional, was the loss of the dog. The dog to him was family.
No, believe me, I understand. Here's somebody asking, Doctor, when your home was ransacked, when people were trying to run you off the road, at any point did you call the police? Did you file any reports?
Well, we talked about going to the police. Gary was run off the road following somebody. He was going to go to the police. I don't think he ever did. And no, I did not.
Okay. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed, Jonathan Reed, and Robert Wraith. Hello?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Turn your radio off, please, and talk up good and loud for us.
All right. My name is George. I'm in Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
And I kind of had two questions. One was based on the wrapping that you put the alien in, the Mylar. could that have possibly preserved it in the freezer? And I know you discussed its human qualities, but if it were human-like, could that have helped it?
I honestly don't know. A thermal blanket is very similar to a mylar piece of aluminum foil looking.
Yeah. Right.
It's designed to stop the cold air from penetrating. It wasn't wrapped up tight and taped together. It was folded over this and wrapped, and I had two straps on it. And if you see the video, which eventually it'll be out for everyone to see, and then they'll understand, it was held together with these straps. And they were fairly loose-fitting because that's what I used to pick it up with.
Okay.
Other than that, I really don't know.
One other really brief question.
Yes.
Regarding the alien, I know the clothing or the whatever the black suit was hard to get through, but to kind of put its human characteristics in perspective, did you notice anything about like sex organs or anything that would have made it more human-like?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. During the examination that we did in detail, which is detailed in the book, we went over every square inch of the body. I indicated all of the vertebrae that I could feel, all the different muscle structures that I could determine through the suit. I could not remove it. I mean, I couldn't grab it and remove it. I tried every way I could. But in feeling through the suit, as best I could feel no genitalia. So I don't know what sex it was.
Okay.
All right, caller.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, and take care. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Wraith and Dr. Jonathan Reed. Hello.
Hello, Art Bell. This is quite a pleasure. I just started listening to you a couple of weeks ago, and I've been listening to this story, and I have a question that concerns the point at which you attacked the alien with the stick.
It's actually a club.
A club. And you've described yourself as being somewhat out of control, unconscious, not in a rational state. And is there, have you ever considered the idea that perhaps you were under some sort of control and that this whole thing has been a setup, that you were, all this has been implanted for you to take the alien, and for some reason you're on some kind of a mission working for the alien or the obelisk, but not quite understanding what your part is in all of this mess?
Yes, I have, and that's a very intelligent question. That has been thought about in great detail with other people that have had similar experiences. But the only conclusion I can come up with is that the creature that I hit obviously was hurt, and I felt was dead. And when I realized it wasn't dead, it was definitely named beyond just a normal wound. I mean, it was what I consider to be a fatal or mortal wound. But in regard to something being constructed for me to believe this was happening, all I can say is what I did was what I did, and the evidence that I brought home is what I've got.
And speaks for itself. Caller, thank you very much. We've got a break here at the bottom of the hour.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back. And we'll ask about his girlfriend and neighbors by fax. I'm Art Bell. This is Coast to Coast AM.
This is Coast to Coast AM from the Kingdom of Nye.
It is. I'm Art Bell. Dr. Reed is here. And, of course, Robert Wraith is here as well. And we'll continue to allow you to ask them questions. These are on-screen calls. I mean, whatever comes in, comes in. And so you're hearing it as it happens. Other shows, other programs don't do that. People are asking if there is a way to get a copy of this program. Yes, there is, and I'll tell you how to do it. And what I would do if I were you is I would get, since this is obviously such a very serious story, with so much documentation, which is so unusual, you can download the photographs from my website, print them out on your printer, and then if you wish a copy of the program to go with it, you can get that copy by calling 1-800-917-4278. 1-800-917-4278. I think it's going to be a 5-hour program. I don't know. How are you guys doing?
Handling.
Are you doing all right?
Yes.
You think you can handle it through the end of the program?
If they want us here, we'll be here.
All right, then it'll be a 5-hour program, folks. 1-800-917-4278. Back to it. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Wraith and Dr. Reed. Hi.
Hi, Art.
Yes, sir.
My name's James, and I'm calling from, it's a community just north of Chattanooga, Tennessee, Body Daisy.
Okay.
I have a question for the doctor.
Yes.
One thing is that I'm visually impaired, so looking at the pictures on the website is not going to do me any good.
Sorry about that.
But when you were examining it, the alien,
yes,
and you went and you said the eyelids were hard to open, were you able to get the eyelids open and see if there was any pigmentation to the eye, like having a color of an iris or anything?
Absolutely.
What color was it?
I was able to open the eyelids and look into the eye. It was a purplish, pinkish color, but if you looked very, very close, it had an iris, and it had gray, pinkish spots on the outside of it.
Okay. And I have one more question about the book. When will it be coming out?
That's being talked about as we speak. We're in negotiation with that now.
Then I have one little short question. Will it be like on audio tape for visually impaired people if they want to read it?
I would like to have that happen, yes.
I would love to read it if it was.
We'll see what we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
It's been a pleasure listening to the show.
Take care, my friend. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
Yes, I've got a couple of questions.
All right, where are you, sir?
Oh, I'm calling from Fairbanks, Alaska.
Way up north.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay, there was obviously, I haven't been able to see the photos, but I heard that there was a head wound and blood.
Yes.
Was there any unusual scent to it, or just a normal blood scent?
Actually, it smelled like rotting fruit, as best I can describe it.
Yeah.
Okay, and my other question, you mentioned you had a friend that has since vanished.
Yes.
Did he ever give any indication that he wanted to drop out of sight, or do you think it was involuntary?
I think it was a combination of both.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the call. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Turn your radio off and speak up good and loud.
It's off.
I can barely hear you.
Yes. My name's Kevin.
Kevin, we can barely hear you. Where are you?
In Huntsville, Texas.
Huntsville, Texas. Do you have a question?
Well, I have a comment. On one of your previous shows, you had a supposed time traveler that said that the Greys thrived in cold weather. Do you think?
I believe that is correct, as a matter of fact. I take your point. Thank you. I want to return to another point. Doctor,
yes.
I meant to ask you about your girlfriend, your parents, your family, sisters, brothers, but most of all, your girlfriend. What happened?
Well, my parents are dead.
I'm sorry.
But my girlfriend was introduced to this very similar to the way Gary was, where I literally brought her out and showed it to her, because you can't explain this to somebody. If you've got it in front of them, they can't deny it. And I literally unwrapped it and showed her what I brought home. Well, at that point, she was freaking.
Sure.
And saying, what have I done? What is this going to do to your career? Where is this going to leave us? You could be in real serious trouble. On and on and on and on. And this created an argument between us that was basically the end of our relationship.
And so you're not in touch with her at all now?
I have been in touch with her since this event, but we are no longer together.
I understand. All right. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
How you doing?
All right,
Dave.
sir.
This is Dave from Minnesota.
Hello, Dave.
Yes, I wanted to ask Dr. Reed, did he ever think that it wasn't in an alien's nature to attack the human as it did the dog?
I didn't wait around for that to happen. I reacted so quickly at the site. Now, later on, after I had realized it wasn't dead, it was moving in a totally different manner. It was an injured being. It was definitely dying in my eyes.
I was just curious to see, what it did to the dog. It might, what just as easily did it to you.
Yep.
I thought about that, but at the time, it was just a totally different feeling. There was an aggression going on, and when it was at home, it was definitely injured.
All right.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Right, thank you. The clothing, or whatever it is, this suit that covered this creature, in the video you can see all of this testing and examination that you're doing that would be so much more detailed than the stills, as good as they are, that we've got on the website right now. Are you ever going to release this video?
Yes, we are. I'm going to release all of the information I have because I want everybody to see what I've got and let them judge for themselves.
Do you have any idea yet what venue you're going to use to release it?
No, I don't. Again, that's being discussed as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So much has happened in the last 2 weeks that it has been like a landslide. We have had people coming forward to help us with this. And I want to say at this time, thank you to all of you who have sent letters and faxes, both through the UFO Agency and through ART's website. It's been incredibly wonderful.
Is there a way to contact either one of you?
The best way at this time, considering all that's going on, is through the San Diego UFO Society.
You've gone to them?
Yes.
What was their reaction?
Well, we've gone to them in hopes of using their facility to better support this whole ride, so to speak.
Ride is right.
There is a couple of people there that have been incredibly generous to give us a helping hand, and I can't thank them enough. Rob and also Chris in San Diego have done just a tremendous job to keep things propped up and keep me going to bring this to you, Art.
Well, it's news, really. I had not heard that you were involved with an organization like that, and that adds yet another a bit of credibility. Have they done any investigation on their own? I assume they've interviewed you extensively.
Actually, very little. There's been so much happening so quick. Everybody has joined in and wanted to support this effort. And, we're getting to that as we speak.
All right, here's somebody asking, Art, please ask the doctor if he has any physical evidence still in his possession, the blanket, blood stains from the alien on any of your clothes, hair fibers from the dog Susie that could be substituted for PCR or other more specific DNA testing.
No, I do not.
It's all gone.
It's gone. I had it, but somebody took it away.
Understood. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith, silent as he has been most of the time. Yes, hello.
Yes, my name is Wayne. I'm in Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
And just a comment and a question. You had Colonel Corso on a previous program, and if I remember correctly, he mentioned an autopsy of an alien in which it had two brains. And the brains were separated by some type of cartilage-type material.
I vaguely recall that, yes.
And just an observation, it's a speculation, but possibly the injury to this alien was to one brain. And the other brain was still active and recovering.
Interesting observation, actually. I interviewed Colonel Corso, I think, for more hours than anybody prior to his passing. And the point is well made. We know people, when they ask questions and they make observations, Doctor, again, they relate everything to their human experience.
Exactly.
And you've got to reach out and understand that this creature, obviously, when you look at it, it's obviously not human. There's simply no question about that. And so we can't use our own experiences and translate them directly to what this creature would have felt, was feeling, whether it was dead, alive, or what condition it was in. We just don't know.
We don't know. And, you know, we do know that on our planet, we have creatures, reptiles, and different lizards that can, you know, have injuries and literally regenerate themselves. I don't know if this was the case. This did not look like a reptile, but yet it may have had that type of...
It vaguely did. It vaguely looked reptilian, actually, I thought. Here's somebody who says, there's got to be a lighter moment. Art, I just saw the pictures on the website, and I figured out what this is. The creature looks just like my mother-in-law. She is from Kokomo, Indiana, not Mars, but she'll kill your dog just by looking at it. It's wrinkled and mean-looking, just like her. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
Hi.
Where are you?
I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Okay, yell at us, because you're not too loud.
Okay. I'd like to know if they can divulge exactly where this happened. We live... I'm temporarily in Seattle, but we live about 100 miles east of Seattle.
It's a very good question, and one that has not been yet asked. Doctor, can you tell us roughly or precisely even where this occurred?
Well, it was pretty close, approximately 60 miles from Seattle due east on I-90, up just past the pass, which is Snoqualmie Pass, and about 15 miles northeast.
So past North Bend, or?
Oh, yes, past North Bend, past
Salem?
Yes.
Oh, that's getting so close to home.
Too close to home. It was too close to my home.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I said it was too close to my home.
Okay. But you can't say where, can you?
Well, that's about as close as I can get to a pretty close description.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, and keep your doors locked up there.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, let's see. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith. Hello.
Yes, calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Name is Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Yeah, I love your show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a few questions, really quick, separate questions I can get on, I hope. Okay, I was wondering about the creature when you came up over the rise, when you first saw it with your dog.
Yes.
Jonathan, yeah. By the way, I commend your bravery. It's really incredible. Same with you, Robert, and Art also.
Thank you.
But, yeah, when you came up over the rise, was the dog on the right side or the left side? I'm just trying to, visualize it.
The dog was on my right with the creature.
I'm trying to figure out, yeah, I thought it was on the left side the whole time. Okay.
So you were looking down from the rise toward the right?
Right, about 10, 12 feet.
Okay.
Okay, and also I was wondering if you saw it or has anyone asked you about missing time at all?
Yes, there again, there's a huge section about that in the book, and it's very difficult to explain. It felt like 3 hours that I spent on the site, but I'm not sure it was exactly 3 hours. My watch had stopped, and when I got back to my vehicle, time was all out of proportion.
Your watch had stopped.
Yes.
Do you know that?
Stopped at 2:55.
Okay, did you delve into any hypnosis yet, or lie detector test?
I've taken 2 polygraphs.
You have?
And I have passed them both.
You have?
Goodness, I have.
And those results will be published, I presume, with the book?
Yes, those were done by 2 independent facilities.
Oh, my word. The more we ask, the more we learn, I guess. This has been in the last couple of years, or how recent, Doctor?
This was done within the last year.
And can you give us an idea of who sponsored them, or?
I sponsored them.
You did?
Absolutely. I want this information out. I want people to see this.
And these were done by independent...
2 different independent facilities.
Any other questions, Carl?
Yes, one more question. I'm sorry. I was wondering about the last evidence you have. Any videotape of the obelisk or the alien?
The answer is yes. I can tell you. I've got the videotape. The answer
as for like when he saw the alien in the freezer and you recorded that,
yes.
The noise there, was there actually video also at the same time?
There was video and audio several times that I had of that.
When he was screaming?
Yes.
It was screaming?
But unfortunately, that is gone.
Oh, gosh. Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the call. And, gentlemen, hold on. We are at yet the top of another hour. We're going to do one more hour in many or most markets. I want to remind my audience, 3 hours of this program are now available pre-fed every night, beginning at 7 o'clock Pacific time. Program directors, take note, beginning at 7 o'clock every night, we have pre-feed. So if you can't stay up late, well, no problem. No problem if your radio station carries the pre-feeds, because you can kind of catch up on it. It's a service we began offering, about 3 weeks ago. And if you want to know more about it, inquire of your radio station to check into the pre-feeds. They're available. When sports isn't happening, we are. And by the way, if you want a copy of this program, call 1-800-917-4278. 1-800-917-4278. Once again, here I am. Here's an interesting piece of email for you all. Art, I'm a senior physics major in college, and I intend to study applied physics and nanotechnology in graduate school. I've been very skeptical of all UFO claims in the past because I believe very strongly that any alien civilization capable of reaching Earth would almost certainly have developed nanotechnology. This would obviate some of the more primitive technologies that I've heard attributed to aliens, like scalpels, needles, and so forth. So I've tended to dismiss these stories, even though I do enjoy listening to the program. When I listened to the doctor from Washington, however, my ears were perked up by something that he mentioned, which is very consistent with nanotechnology. When he described the death of the dog as being dissolved and sucked into itself, I stopped immediately what I was doing and listened intently. Art, this is precisely the sort of thing that would happen if nanotechnology were used in a defensive capacity. I was later skeptical when he said that he had killed the alien and crushed its skull. A being with that nanotechnological capabilities would not be killed by a mere crushed skull. He then described his observation that the being seemed to repair itself and return to life. Exactly what you would expect from nanotechnology. Now, I don't know if this story is true or not, but it's the first alien story I've heard that is consistent with the use of nanotechnology, and that makes it very interesting to me. In a moment, my guest will be right back. Once again, everybody, the rescanned higher detail photographs are up on my website now that show you portions of the encounter you're hearing described tonight, my honest advice is if you cannot get to see them tonight, by all means, get to a library, get to a computer, get to a friend, download them, print them out, and judge for yourself. My guests are Dr. Jonathan Reed, the doctor who had the encounter in the woods in Washington with this being, and Robert Wraith, who is documenting this for the doctor, and who can, Robert, I appreciate, by the way, your being so patient. You haven't had a lot to say.
No problem, Mark.
But anytime you feel like chiming in and being part of this, jump in.
There is something about the last facts that I thought was very fascinating. We do mention briefly nanotechnology in the book as one of the newer developments of mankind, a newer technology. So I thought that was really interesting that he brought that up. And yes, in theory, it does explain the possibility of why some of the things happened the way they did.
Indeed so. I would also like to bring up, in case people would like to compare, I've been listening very carefully to what you've said, Dr. Reed, tonight. And, of course, we have a lot of new details tonight, but in comparing it with what you told us last week, your story is very consistent, and somebody has supplied us, in fact, with a transcript of the show we did last week, and that's on the website now if somebody would like to make a comparison. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
Hi, this is Ryan calling from Merced, California on KYOS.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, Dr. Jonathan Reed, if your dog, was it Susie?
Yes.
Was she or a friendly dog, or was she protecting you, perhaps? Or
I believe she was protecting me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she was friendly with when she wasn't aggressive or anything.
No, but I do know that she was taking a definite defensive stance.
Yeah, but sometimes it seems like animals know a little bit more than people about certain things.
A lot of times.
Yeah, so you can really trust animals, and especially something you've developed a relationship over with years.
Right.
So it might be some food for thought about what this might be really about and their purpose here or something. But
you never know.
You never know. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
Oh, hi. I just had a question for your guest. I was wondering...
All right, where are you, first of all?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in Texas. I'm in Fort Worth.
Okay. Turn your radio off.
Okay.
Number one there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Go right ahead.
Okay, it might be a stupid question, but I was just wondering, when he said about the time he drove by his house?
Yes.
And he saw the cars all in front of his home?
Yes.
I was wondering why he drove by it. Why didn't he just,
stop?
These were the same vehicles that had been following us and running us off the road. And there was no way that I was going to get near that place with 3 vans and 6 to 7 people.
Yeah, if somebody had tried to kill you, caller, and you saw their vehicle parked in front of your house, would you stop?
Oh, no, I wasn't aware of that right there. I heard about that, but I didn't know if it was those same people.
Yeah, apparently these same color vehicles.
Okay, because if it was my house or something, I would have just... either done something like maybe stopped it somewhere nearby or something and called the police or something to say somebody's coming in my house, you need to. But I understand, I guess, now.
Okay. Appreciate the call. The police keep coming up. However, I guess you presumed, or I would have presumed, that the people you were dealing with would have been able to deal with the police?
Considering all that happened in all of the detail, which would take another 4 shows to go into, there was no question that these people weren't going to be stopped by anyone.
These were powerful people, and they don't play games.
Robert, have you had any, after-the-fact, corroborating evidence for the doctor with regard to these people?
I myself have had one incident.
Oh?
And it was more of a drive-by. van approached me from my left side, drove up onto the curb, and all I saw was the glass was slightly tinted, and all I heard and saw was this gentleman telling me to shut up and stay out of it, or else. And these people drove off. This is when I first really started talking to Jonathan, and it was horrifying beyond belief.
I can imagine so.
One of the reasons that I sought out Robert was because in some respects, and this is in no way disrespectful, he was an unknown, and that was to my advantage.
That's quite true. All right. East of the Rockies, good morning. You're on the air with Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith.
Yes. Good morning, Art. How are you?
I'm quite all right.
Last week, let me tell you, my name is Chris. I'm calling from Miami, Florida.
Miami, all right.
Last week, Dr. Reed mentioned that he attempted to communicate with the creature after it came back to life, but he didn't have a chance to elaborate on that, and I would like to hear more.
All right.
Thank you.
You betcha. Doctor, right, you tried to communicate with it. What can you tell us?
Well, if you can call it communication, after basically exposing Gary to the fact that it was alive, I made several attempts to go back out, if nothing else, to see if it was still alive, to see if it was still moving at all. And in doing so, I had opened the freezer and basically stood back with the door open, ready to run, and watched it move and actually lift its head, turn its neck, open its eyes, make kind of a gasping sound, not a scream at that time, but almost like it was in pain, dire pain. And I attempted to actually go over to it and see if it was still bleeding. The wound looked like it had semi-set itself, semi-healed, not healed, but reattached. And I took that to the possibility of just the temperature freezing the actually skin skull patch back into place a little bit. But in communication, I didn't sit and talk to it. I more or less watched it move, made a videotape of that section, and tried to see what it was going to do. It moved very little. And that was the form of communication.
Okay. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
Good morning, Bell.
Good morning to you. Where are you, sir?
I'm in Portland, Maine. You're not on the air anymore, but...
No, it's very late now in Portland.
Yeah. By the way, a little comment, and this is from my 13-year-old daughter. She said, say hi to the desert rat.
The desert rat. Yeah, that's me, all right.
Yeah.
Tell her I said hi.
Okay. She can't stay up this late, but she's now, through cassettes that I pass her, enables her to get the instructions from the Internet, and
good.
She's sharing it with her science class.
Very good.
And she's also seen the photos, and she says they're creepy.
They are creepy.
But I want to direct this towards the other guys.
All right, Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith.
Okay, Dr. Reed, whereas a lot of people have said, and even yourself have said, that the being, creature, or whatever doesn't look human, or yet it may look fake. What's to say there isn't sort of a psychology in that thing to change its form so that it does look fake? You know, like a reptile, it changes colors, it changes...
Well, I see where you're going, and that is a possibility. And I considered that, I had totally lost my mind, that the whole incident could be a bad dream, but yet in examining it over and over, in physically touching the skin, moving the neck, watching the tendons move, seeing the pliability of the jaw.
Yeah, all of that's in the tape, by the way.
There was no mistaking that I was physically holding and touching this being, and that it wasn't an illusion. But who knows?
Right.
Anything is possible.
We do know that it can do some semi-morphic things. For instance, as I said earlier on the show, when it extended its arm to attack Susie, that is something obviously we couldn't do, but it was capable of doing. So it does, after a fashion, have some semi-morphic abilities.
That's something that's like in a way like so gruesome that it wouldn't even be a part of our makeup of animals, beings, and your panting and your hollering and throwing up, that can't be faked. I was in law enforcement, and I recognized that. The running, the adrenaline, the disbelief, the sweats on the forehead, the sweats down the back, the cold chills, sort of panic attack, called panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
When you're right there and all of it's going down. That must have been amazing.
It was terrible.
Yeah, terrible, more than amazing. Amazing, I guess, in a way to hear about now in the context of a radio program or a book you would read or even a video to see. But to experience, terrifying would be more the word. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
Hi.
Where are you?
I'm calling from Sacramento, California.
All right.
Okay, I had a question about the girlfriend. I was kind of surprised to hear that you're not in contact with her and that she kind of just dropped out of the picture after witnessing something like this. I mean,
well, actually, I think he did say he had some contact with her since, but
right.
they're not together as in boyfriend girlfriend anymore. Is
okay.
that correct?
But well, my concern was if you thought possibly she could have been someone who may have contacted the people who eventually took the, I guess, creature away from you.
That was a possibility.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, when you said that, I thought, how could you just walk away from that situation and sit on it? I would have to tell somebody if it were me.
Believe me, I didn't walk away and just sit on it. I did everything I could.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the girlfriend.
Right. But I mean, with her, this was a long-term relationship. In fact, we had been very seriously talking about being married. Mm-hmm. But this was kind of like the last straw, and she didn't want to have anything to do with it. She was afraid of what was going on because I did keep in contact with her during this 10-day period. And, she was being followed. Her family was being followed. It was a nightmare.
Oh, how scary. Well, okay. Well, I was just curious. So you are still in contact with her?
Yes, I have been in contact with her, but due to circumstances, it's not a continuing relationship.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call, and take care. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi. Hello. Going once, going twice. Gone. First-time caller line. That is when I punch the right button. First-time caller line, you're on the air. Good morning. Am I punching the right buttons? Maybe not. Let me get this straight here. All right. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hello.
Yeah, hi. It's John in Akron, Ohio.
Yes, sir.
Hey, anyway, I kind of missed some of this, but Doctor, what field of medicine are you involved in?
Actually, it's psychology. I was a counselor, research counselor.
Oh, okay. And then your friend, Mr. Reed, is it?
Wraith.
Okay. And then is he just your friend? I mean,
he's a freelance writer.
Okay. And then, so, Art, because I missed some of this, so. But you guys both witnessed the creature here?
No, just myself.
Just yourself.
The photographs of the creature and what's called the obelisk are on the website, sir, if you have a computer.
Okay. And are the, what you're saying then is the full transcript of this episode? Is that all on your...
The transcript of the previous program, which would be sufficient to introduce you to the facts, is also on the website.
Oh, excellent.
So you need to get to a computer.
All right. Thanks a lot, Art.
All right. Thank you. It's all at www.artbell.com, and you'll see it all listed there. West of the Rockies, hello there. You're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith.
Hi, this is Ed in Kenai, Alaska.
Kenai, Alaska, and moving in a truck, I'd say.
Well, actually, I'm delivering a newspaper out in a car in the snow. It's snowing like crazy up here. We didn't even get to see the meteor shower because of all the snow up here. But I was wondering if they ever considered any retaliation from the alien beings because, as if a human was bit by a dog, and we would, take the dog and take care of him. Well, did they ever think about that with the aliens?
All right, let's ask. It's a good question, Doctor. After doing what you did to that creature, were you ever concerned that there might be others?
It probably quickly passed through my mind, but I only had one to worry about.
Yeah, well, that's all anybody needs.
To be quite honest, the enemy didn't look like it was what I was in my freezer. The enemy looked like somebody in blue vans.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a moment, too. The connection between those who we vote for and say they lead us and those like the ones that, or the one that Dr. Reed met up with in the woods in Washington. Okay, once again, to get a copy of this program, if you didn't hear it all, this is the comprehensive program tonight. Call 1-800-917-4278. That's 1-800-917-4278. Don't touch that dial. The information you're hearing tonight, or any night for that matter, is presented for your consideration. And I understand that many of you feel violently one way or the other about it. That's understandable. It's very controversial material. But this is the place where you can hear it. I don't know where else you can. I'm Art Bell, and it's called Coast to Coast AM. Glad to have you along, reminding you that we now do 3 hours of pre-feed prior to the show, beginning at 7 o'clock Pacific time, because so much of the audience, obviously, drifts off to sleep. So your radio station now, if they wish, can pick up 3 hours of the program, probably the 3 hours you missed, and run it earlier in the evening. In a moment, my guests will be right back, and the story of the encounter in Washington continues. All right, back now to our guest gentlemen. Thank you for staying throughout the evening, the both of you. It's amazing that you're able to, you've got a lot of stamina, I'll put it that way.
Thank you, Art.
You bet. And here comes a question by email. Art, please ask the doctor whether he is right or left-handed.
Right-handed.
Also, was the creature facing him or facing away at the time the doctor struck the creature in the club? Where is it? There should be tissue or DNA testing remaining on the club. Well, you have said the area was cleaned up. The wound does appear to be toward the side or back of the head.
Yes.
So I guess you came at him with your right hand and the club connected with sort of the side or back of his...
Well, being right-handed, I swung from right to left, and the wound was inflicted on the back right side.
Oh, all right.
Or actually, the back left side.
The back...
Because he was facing me.
Well, correct. From the creature's point of view, back left side, that would be correct. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hello.
Hello?
Hi there.
This is Bud from Nashville, Tennessee, WWTN 99.7.
The monster in Nashville.
The monster.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I had an observation. I think the doctor said earlier when he touched the obelisk on top that it was like dry ice.
Yes.
Could that have something to do with the regeneration process?
I don't know. All I know is
rejuvenated in the freezer.
Well, when I touched it, it burned my hand. But the ET was nowhere close to it. But that is always a possibility because we don't know what the obelisk is or was for sure.
Okay, well, I was just wondering about that point. I know you mentioned, I think, dry ice, it felt like. So.
Yes.
Okay, thank you a lot.
Thank you, sir, and take care. Here's one, too. Was there any odor associated with this alien creature, either in the woods or when you had it at home, Doctor?
Yes, I think I said that earlier, that the only odor was almost like decaying fruit or rotting fruit.
That's right, you did say that. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here reading, sort of pouring through faxes as we're taking calls.
No problem.
East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Hi.
Hi, this is Lance.
Lance, turn your radio off and tell us where you are.
Sure. Grand Island, New York.
Grand Island, New York, okay.
I tuned in late, and I was wondering what happened to the spacecraft.
Now,
I haven't heard anything on what happened with the spacecraft.
Okay, the story is, first of all, we don't know that it was a spacecraft. The doctor calls it the obelisk, for lack of a better word.
Right.
And he was on the scene for almost 3 hours. When he left, it was still there. When he came back the next day with his friend, with a truck to try and actually, I guess, attach chains to a doctor. And
we didn't know what we were going to do. I had more film. I had more cameras. I was going to do anything I could.
And it was gone.
There was not a stick out of place.
There you are, caller.
Okay.
All right. Doctor, what do you think has happened to your friend? What's your best guess? Do you think your friend is dead?
I've had a long time to think about it, and I'm honestly not sure. I hope not. Now, there is something I haven't mentioned.
Okay.
There was another friend helping me.
Oh.
Besides Gary.
Oh.
And that person we'll call Dolly at this time. It was an older woman who I had known for some time. And she had actually taken some photographs from me in a package of evidence and held for me. And about 2 months after I went into hiding, I contacted her by phone and made arrangements to go see her. She was a very dear friend. When I got to her house, I found her dead on the floor. And I called the police. They came. They said she died of natural causes.
Boy.
There was no sign of the package that she was holding for me. But as far as Gary goes, I don't know. I'm hoping that he's okay and that he's hiding too.
Okay. Well, I don't know how you're doing this. You quit your profession that day. Somebody asks, how have you obtained an income since then? How are you surviving?
I haven't obtained an income since then. I've been surviving by the skin of my teeth. I've had help from friends. I was a little bit resourceful. I had a feeling the possibility may come to where I would have to get away for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, I didn't think it would be this long. But I've had some tremendous friends that have supported me and believed in me when I almost lost hope of believing in myself. And these people are the people that have encouraged me to come forward and to do this. I didn't do it on my own.
It could not have been easy. You would have to know the ridicule from some quarters that you would face in coming forward with a story like this.
I've gotten it from all sides.
I'm sure you have.
But my plan for all of this is nothing but to let the people decide for themselves.
When, this is a hard question, Doctor, but I'm going to ask it. When you opened the freezer, when the creature screamed, when you slammed the freezer door shut, how did you feel about this being, obviously at this point, at least to some degree, an alive creature that you were sealing in a frozen tomb?
Well, I had mixed emotions, and I still do. Number one, I've had a long time to think about what this was, and it wasn't human, which in some respects is a blessing. It was intelligent, but it wasn't human, so therefore I did not name or kill the human. So therefore, I'm not in trouble in that respect.
Perhaps not in a legal sense.
Right. But in a moral sense.
I'm sure you've considered the fact that it was a sentient being of some sort.
Exactly. I think the trouble I have most is feeling that I named this animal. Mm-hmm. If I was in the woods and I was a hunter and I would halfway injure something, I would feel that it was morally right to go back and put it out of its misery. I was left with that dilemma. When I opened the freezer and it moved, in some ways I was excited to know that it wasn't dead. But then I was left with, now what?
Yeah, now what? I do understand. And if it was moving, the last thing you would do is reach down and grab it, particularly with what had happened to your dog. All right, east of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. This is Dave in Illinois.
Hello.
Hi. Was there ever any video or photographic evidence of the damage to the house, and do you still own the house, Doctor?
No, I was renting the house. And no, there was no visual evidence. I was not going to stay around long enough to take pictures.
Okay, I understand that. And you said when you first encountered the creature, it gave you a look of, like, death or something? Did you ever make eye contact with it again, and what sense did you get from it then?
Your words were, it was a look that could kill, or what did you say, Doctor?
It was angry. It was an angry look. It was a that's the best way I can explain it. It was a look of anger, of like hate. I don't know if it was pointed or directed at me directly, or if it was the circumstances of what the dog was doing. Again, it happened in a matter of seconds. Later on, when the freezer was opened, there was a look of almost pain, almost like it was in pain and saying, I don't know, just it was in pain.
Did you have the feeling that it was trying to get you to help it or anything?
Boy, that would be real speculation. No, I can't say that I did.
Okay, and did it ever make any attempt to get out of the freezer?
Yes, it did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it die?
In fact, it made an attempt to get out of the freezer, sit down at the bottom of the freezer for about 15, 16 minutes, and then crawl back up inside.
Whoa. God. Amazing. And you do sound very credible, Doctor, and I thank you for coming forward with the story.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call. Somebody asks here, what organizations do you imagine or think or might even know were threatening you? Do you have any idea?
No, I have no idea, other than the typical MIB statement.
Mm-hmm.
But these were human beings.
In suits, those kinds of people, dark suits?
I encountered several different attires, suits, casual clothes, jumpsuit like a moving person would wear. I don't think there was any one particular outfit, you know.
Both of you, I've asked this before, but just for the record, Robert, you contacted me, of course, with those intriguing faxes you sent me.
Right.
Why did you choose me? Why did you choose my show to break this story?
First off, listening to you for as long as I have, I felt, and Jonathan felt, we could trust you. And you've definitely proven that point. You've handled what we've given you with class and elegance. You've kept it close to your pocket. You've only released what we said was okay to release, and that we certainly appreciate. Also, you're the only one that has a forum like this to release this kind of information, give people a chance to speak out on issues like this. You had Linda Moulton Howell on earlier,
yes,
and you were releasing information then no one else had talked about. And that is one of the major reasons we chose you, not only just for you, but just your audience and how you run things.
There's another issue, too.
Oh?
And that issue is you and I have personally talked about some very private matters. And I believe your sincerity. And this is all about trust. And that's why I wanted you to do this.
I appreciate that. Thank you. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Good morning. Hello there. Going once, going twice. Gone. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Reed and Robert Wraith. Good morning.
Hi. I want to know who developed the film and what was their reaction.
Oh, that's a good question. You're very weak. Where are you, ma'am?
I'm calling from Boise, Idaho.
Boise. All right. She wants to know who developed the film and what else?
What was the reaction of the people who developed it?
That's a good question. Doctor?
The film was developed by an independent film laboratory like you'd see down any street in any town. And actually, the person who developed it never said a thing until I went and talked with them, because these pictures come out of a machine, and they are cut and dumped into a rack, almost into a bag, and they never saw a thing.
Yeah, you know, that's right. I've seen it done many times now that you mention it, and the back of the photographs, I can tell my audience, is just standard stamped Kodak processing. A Kodak processing machine, I would assume. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith. Hello.
Hi, this is Alan. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir?
I was wondering if you got any pictures of the vans or any of the vehicles that might have been following us.
Ah, that's a very good question, Doctor.
We did get a picture of one of the vans, but it was pretty much a side shot, and it was pretty blurred at the time. But it was pretty insignificant.
A lot of the photographs that were taken did not come out as well, obviously, as the ones you sent me. I presume you sent me the cream of the crop.
Actually, I probably have 25 or 30 photographs that are all equally as clear.
Really? Wow. Lots of material for that book. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith. Hello.
Hi, I'm Melissa, calling from St. Louis.
Melissa, yell at me.
Hi, I'm calling from St. Louis, 550. And I have a question regarding to the camera he used, because I know you said that some of the people have been saying the camera's too still, the shots are too clear for, someone who's shaking and stuff like that. I do photography, and my question is, do you have an automatic or a manual camera?
It's both. It's an old Nikon that has an automatic setting, but also a manual override.
Okay, and did you use that manual override when you
Yes, I did, because we...
Okay, and do you remember the shutter speed you had used?
It was actually shooting at approximately a quarter to a half second.
Okay, so...
because the tree cover, the canopy was so solid that I was afraid that I wasn't going to get anything.
Enough light, okay.
Yeah, that's obvious in the photographs, actually. And not only that, not only was there a very thick canopy, but if you look behind the canopy, particularly in the enhanced photographs I've got up there now, you can clearly see it was a dark gray day, typical of that part of the country.
I was just going to say, because if you have a fast enough shutter speed, it will compensate for any sort of trembling that you have. So,
Well, I had it was a very fast lens. It was a 1.2 aperture.
Yeah, so for anybody who doubts it, if you had a fast shutter speed, it's compensating it, so therefore you got a clear shot. I have one more question, if that's okay.
Sure, fire away.
The last time you talked to your friend Gary, how long after you got him involved did he turn up missing, and how long of a time span in between your last contact till the time you had, found out he's, nowhere to be found?
About 8 hours prior to him being gone, which was at the end of the 10th day, I had spoke with him on the phone.
All right, gentlemen, guess what? We're out of time. It's just gone. The whole program is gone. Is there anything either one of you want to say?
I'd like to thank everybody who has been so supportive in this, from one end of the earth to the other. We have gotten calls and faxes and all kinds of things, and I just want to thank everybody, and I will do my damnedest to get this out.
And if I have time out, I'd like to read the address and phone number of the San Diego UFO Society one more time.
Go right ahead.
Okay, that's the San Diego UFO Society, and their phone number is 1-619-299-9157, and the P.O. Box 34351, San Diego, California, 92103.
All right, gentlemen, I really appreciate your both being here and hanging in with me all night long. We will do an update when it is appropriate to do so. You have my private contact number. When you need to talk to me, call me.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Bell.
very much, Art.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night. Thank you.
All right, there you have it, folks. Again, to get a copy of this program, call 1-800-917-4278. Indeed, a classic. 1-800-917-4278 from the high desert. Good night.